The delegate from Powhatan, Delegate Ware.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise for a point of personal privilege.
Delegate has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen, one of the most consequential questions we will consider this session is what we will do in reconsideration of a bill we passed in 2015. You'll recall it was styled the rate freeze bill. There are several bills related to this, including at least a clean repeal of that and a much larger, shall we style it, somewhat repeal, somewhat redirect. The latter bill, House Bill 1558, was filed at the filing deadline last Friday. It's 21 pages long, and beyond that includes some fairly dense text. Among its provisions, according to its principal proponent, it has a three-part entry related to the 2015 rate freeze and the 2017 federal tax reform passed just last month, a change from a current biennial to triennial base rate reviews. It directs the State Corporation Commission in regard to grid transformation and modernization, which is probably the single element that its advocates have most emphasized, at least in the early going. There are designations for wind, solar, energy storage, and energy efficiency. It expands the Energy Share program, and I've just scratched the surface. Just to give you one element of how dense it is, I want you to see if you can translate this into regular language. It requires the State Corporation Commission to find over-earnings outside of a 70 basis points earning band after considering offsets to earnings attributed to solar, wind, grid transformation investments for 2 consecutive triennial review periods before rates can be reduced or refunds can be issued. Now, I say that not to make light of this. It's a critically important piece of legislation. Because of its complexity, because of the compressed time frame we have to consider, it could be as short as just a couple of weeks before a bill of this magnitude will be before us here on the floor. Because of that, I have joined 5 of our colleagues in asking the State Corporation Commission to analyze the proposal. Your other colleagues who are co-signatories on a letter that we sent to the SEC yesterday afternoon include Delegate Webert, Delegate Keem, Delegate Landis, Delegate Ward, and Delegate Toscano. We are asking the SEC in its analysis to focus on the bill's projected effect on ratepayers, because ratepayers are the people that we are here to look out for. We've been elected here to consider their well-being. And let me also make clear that whatever legislation we pass in years to come, it will be described in this way. The General Assembly has determined that X, Y, and Z. We all benefit, all of us benefit from a healthy utility that delivers dependable electricity at reasonable rates, and I believe in broad terms we have that today. And I feel confident that the patrons' intent on this bill is to continue that. A healthy utility with dependable electricity and reasonable rates. At the same time, I think we all have a high duty to ensure that we chart an honest and broadly understood path forward. I know many of you have had second thoughts about what this body enacted in 2015. I would ask us today, as we think about this, to work together to ensure that we act on a potentially far more sweeping measure this year in 2018, and that we do so with our eyes wide open and with the benefit of the ratepayers, our neighbors, uppermost. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.